All right, unfortunately a pause, but Zach, how are you feeling? Our first cast here today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, just a slight pause to get the excitement ready. Everyone's got to absorb the moment. This should be a good game, like you said. We're going to have some exciting team fights, is what I imagine. Like the panel mentioned, we got this global, I think, is a big part we have to look for. If you can bait it out on Liquid or stall till the dispels come out, they have a lot of answers to AVULUS's draft, which I think will lead to some very exciting fights, some posturing, some very tense moments.
I hope so, man. They did paint a little bit of a dark portrait, like Shiver said here, of AVULUS's draft. But this is a team that has definitely surprised a lot of people throughout this group stage. So we'll see how they can do here in the playoffs against one of the tournament favorites, always. You can never count out Team Liquid. They're a team that gets stronger game after game. Bryle's been showing up here every single game as well. So yeah, excited to see how this is going to play out as both teams kind of smoked up at the moment. Getting some wards placed, getting the vision game going.
The panel mentioned AVULUS always wanting to get off to a good start. First blood would always help, but right now, Liquid playing it real safe, sitting behind their tower, expecting an invade. They're kind of right.
They are. A little bit of Steal of the Watcher. His Desire is going to hold the high ground. It looks like it's going to be no contest for these runes. It doesn't seem like either team. Well, I say that. Mickey just going to walk in. We'll see what happens here. The Gush is out onto Zibe. Blood Grenade out as well as the Curse onto 3. But the damage, it's stacking up, and Zibe's going to go down. Mickey claiming first blood on the Tiny. That's the start you're looking for on a safe lane Tiny, especially in this guy's hands, one of the best Tiny players in the world right now.
You usually feel safe as a Beastmaster. You're pretty tanky. You got the Border slow, but actually Liquid has so many slows. All the heroes brought a slow. You just could not get away. So Tiny off to a good start.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see how that affects his lane. Typically, the first blood needs a lot of extra regen. He's in a pretty okay matchup having a strong support like the Phoenix, right? One of these lane dominators, something Fly was mentioning, just a hero that doesn't get a lot of attention, but against these tanky cores, it does a lot of work.
Yeah, and Mickey on the Tiny, the panel mentioned, he did lose his last game in the group, but before that, I think it was like a 10 win streak on Tiny. Liquid is very comfortable playing around this hero. The Phoenix as well. Not one we've seen them pull out very recently, I think, but there were so many support bans in the draft, and then you grab the Phoenix and Ringmaster. All the strong supports, maybe also having the same read. If AVULUS does not have a good start, we have this in the late game as the more experienced team. Yeah,
that's definitely a possibility. Mid lane looking pretty good here for both sides. Bryle doesn't really have any denies yet, but here against the Dragon Knight, that's kind of expected. Seneko actually burned down in the bottom lane. Gush Impalement Arts, a great combo here. As they'll put that into the hands of Boxy's Ringmaster. What do you think? What facet did he go?
The Ringmaster has the Carney Classics. He got a whoopee cushion.
Nice.
That should be fine for this lane. Actually, the Lifestealer will not like chasing into the whoopee cushion.
I love it. It's such a great kind of series of items he can pull out of his hat. I think the Tidehunter, though, like they were saying, you can mostly leave him alone. I don't feel like they're going to be able to put a lot of pressure on him. The Lifestealer, yeah, it does some things. Hold on, a potential repeat here. The Tame the Beast, a lot of damage, though, out from Boxy. He's just protecting that pole camp for now.
Yeah, you want it to spawn. Like you said, you want to leave the Tidehunter alone, let him be really farmed, but that means you'd like the lane to be in a safe spot. So it was blocked one more time, maybe around the 3 minutes they can get it. For now, they're doing fine, though. Lifestealer's not as scary as it used to be. It used to be very scary to lane against level 1. Now it takes a couple levels and then you can bully people out, but Tidehunter, not so much. We should see some casual farming down there. A peaceful lane while everyone goes mid, I imagine, around that 6-minute mark.
The farming pact is like we like to call it,
No one fight down here. After our first blood, no one fight down here.
Let us kill you first. Then, all right, yeah, no more fighting. 3-minute Lotus is about to spawn. Always try to see these teams fight over them. Against the Phoenix, it's not going to be easy. Just so much damage coming out from this hero. So it looks like Insania should be able to secure that fairly well. As for this safe lane, oh, hold on, potentially another kill in the bottom lane. Absolutely, as one more for Boxy. Saberlight just gonna shrug off these auto attacks from the Lifestealer.
The farming pact is completely ignored down here. He actually did take Kraken Swell on this Tidehunter. We've been seeing a lot of Krill Eater, but he did just get his first Kraken Shell stack there. And actually looking at the core lineup and then even a Wind Ranger support, if you can build up a lot of stacks, yeah, you're going to be extremely tanky, and you want the Tide to be in the front. The panel mentioned, you know, he's like the combo breaker. If he's in front and you have to initiate on him, you got to throw everything, and he is so tanky, he's probably still going to get the Ravage out. And I think as long as you keep your team alive, you'll have the saves. Like
Strongman
that one
tonic.
right there. You got all these answers.
Very nice Strongman Tonic. Yeah, Boxy getting a lot of damage back onto Snako as well. Cursed, however, will break the salve of Saberlight, so that is a little painful. We'll be sitting fairly low in the lane right now. A lot of trading. It feels like bottom lane is the only action. Everyone else just kind of chilling. This mid lane.
Everyone else is respecting the farming fact.
That's fair. Yeah, Brawl mid lane on the Ember versus the Dragon Knight. I mean, it's a matchup we've seen a lot, typically favoring the Dragon Knight. And now the big question is, did you expect it to favor the Dragon Knight this much? 28-9 to the 13-1. That's pretty painful.
This looks like old matchups of Dragon Knight versus Ember. Ever since Ember got buffed, we've seen him win so many matchups that he didn't traditionally used to. So this is a bit of a surprise. This feels, I don't know, rough first game on the main event maybe. Fortunately, Ember doesn't always have to have an amazing lane. I mean, we see him get Huskard, Monkey King. As long as he can rotate later, it'll be okay, but this is a bit of a slow start for him.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see. The thing that's interesting, like Mobe's opted for the Fire Dragon as well, right? So he's going to be farming. Like, he's not having to rely on the minus armor. Well, his bottom lane, another attempt here from Saberlight and Boxy. The third death for Snako. As Smiling Knight, he just has to watch. He can't do anything here.
And that's the downside of Lifestealer, right? In the early game, you're really not that scary, especially to someone like Tidehunter, who's just so bulky. You usually win, mid? I don't think he'll die. Wait, a power
potential, nice rotation in with the power shot. The Breathe Fire comes out as well. Mobe claims his first victim. And he's going to get a lot of damage into the tower. Okay, I'm blind. He is Corrosive Dragon. I thought for sure I saw the other.
He was still red at that time. Now he's green. Now you can easily tell. Yeah, he even has the catapult here. You have to bring some heroes over to protect us. Otherwise, there's a lot of tower damage coming in.
Yeah, 6-minute rune. Boxy will take it away here, but it's going to cost him his life. Quick little power shot from Desire. The execute from downtown.
Desire having a good start here in the lane. He actually picked up a lot more last hits than we usually see from a support. Now the power shot in mid and another assist there, or I guess the kill. Should be having a good time.
Yeah, we'll see. They need to slow down the Dragon Knight in the mid lane, and they're actually going to start bringing in some heroes. The Phoenix, as well as the Ringmaster here. There's going to be the chains into the Impalement Arch, the Sunray as well. Mobe starting to burn. Tanky hero. But we'll see if he can actually survive this dive. Is it going to be enough? It is. It goes to Boxy. Brawl, though, on the run back, still not level 6. Cursed up, taking a lot of damage. Nice whoopee cushion to the low ground, but can he escape? Desire looking for that power shot opening. It's going to be sidestepped. Well done from this Ringmaster.
Liquid very familiar with how to enable your stand-in. They see he's having a rough time.
They're not done.
They bring everyone in.
Yeah, they're continuing to punish Brawl. He's level 6 though, so this is where we can see him Remnant, TP to Fountain, start playing a little bit more of like a regen and farm.
And that bottom lane still, this is what we expected. Just a peaceful, now it's the farming.
Now we're in
Now the
farming
Tide and the Lifestealer will just spend their time farming. I imagine the Tidehunter. Okay, he's actually opting for a Vlad's first. It is actually pretty good for his team. I was wondering if we'd see just all the auras, right, to be in the front, but Vlad's will be the start of that. See if he wants to go for any of the more protective auras. Like, I guess you don't actually need to pipe this game too much.
I really like what Mobe is doing. He is putting so much pressure into this mid tower, knowing he's ahead in the lane. The Corrosive Dragon takes advantage of this so heavily, and yeah, he's going to be able to grab this tower just about the 8-minute mark as the runes are going to spawn. Desire will take an Invis rune, denying another one to these mid lane heroes. I mean, this is, it's so funny because this is how Dota has evolved. There are 6 heroes in the mid lane here, and it just seems to be the case for most of these lane stages. Is Brawl's going to deny the tower, not give this gold over to the side of Avalos.
And the more bottle refills, the power runes have become so much more important, especially for someone like an Ember Spirit who can do a lot. And he had a rough time, so I think both teams identified if we can get the power runes, it can be the way he recovers. So far, having a bit of a rough time getting those power runes, so he is still struggling the bottom of the net worth for
Mobe's going to snipe this. He knows. They have a ward here, scouting this out. Boxy, he has to be aware. Impalement Art comes out. They get their own ward tonight and take the other. Brawl really needs these creeps. Looks like he will get the majority of them. So nice contest from AVULUS.
Yeah, you keep your stacks alive. You have to split the XP and you lose the ward. A little unfortunate, but mostly taken. Yeah, if you can steal these, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, Zibe about to do the Beastmaster Classic, right? Just farm these ancient stacks over and over, get towards his Aghanim Scepter. Mobe actually coming in to assist, I believe, right, is the correct word. He's not here to take these. He's here to assist. Yeah, he's assisting in the last.
There's going to be a breathe fire at the very end.
Saberlight bottom lane just going to walk down this silencer. Smiling Knight can offer a little bit of an assist thanks to that slow, but honestly, how do you get away from this Tide? He's not even, yeah, he's just gonna beat it down. He doesn't really have a ton of mana, but does have a Soul Ring if needed. Could pop the Ravage, but Desire coming in with a Focus Fire. Tidehunter seemingly unbothered at the moment. Will Saberlight actually get some help? It doesn't look like it. Just continuing to try and bide his time here, get close to that tier 2. No scan from the Radiant. Can AVULUS bring down this? Boy, they can. Desire with the power shot to finish the job. 10 minutes, runes in the mid lane. The action never stopping, it seems. Brawl will finally get his first power rune.
I think that kill attempt on Tide, I mean, it was a successful kill attempt, shows exactly why Beastmaster is going to go Ags this time. We've seen Helm of the Overlord become a little bit more popular ever since they made some changes to it, but you need some magic damage in here. You need to be able to kill Tidehunter with something that is not right-click damage.
Yeah, we'll see what the build is going to be for some of these heroes in AVULUS, but we're currently smoked up here on the side of Liquid. They got a sneak peek of Staneko, and they will go for the dive here once again. Mikke closing the gap. They'll give the kill to Brawl, knowing he needs a little bit more recovery. Mikke, he's having a great game. Top of the net worth here at the 10-minute mark. Just doing what he does best.
Radiant structures are fortified.
We see this happen to a lot of silencers. You either have a great time in the lane and you're just bopping people, or you are being bopped because you have no escapes. You have you're a slow hero. If they get to you, you're pretty much just dead.
All right, so I got a question for you. If you could rate where Staneko is on the bopping scale right now, what would it be?
He's at a 2.
I see, a 2.
Yeah, which is an issue. Like, it's a 1. It's a 1 bopping scale.
1 brain drain. He's ready to go.
That's actually an issue if we do go later on, because a very common build for Silencer right now is Arcanes, sometimes a smaller item, and then the Refreshers that you get the double silence when they pop their Dispels. You have the second one. That is a lot of mana. I don't know if you guys know this. He may be an intelligence hero, but his spells are insanely costly in mana. So if you don't get some brain drain stacks, you actually have a huge issue using any abilities in late game fights, which if all you can use is your ult, Refresher ult, sure, that's good, but you want to use the other spells. You want to use whatever Force Staff Glimmer you've built.
This is a nice bait here from Brawl with the illusion. Looks like they're not going to fall for it. Okay, they figured it out. It's funny because you're right. Like the best thing at that point, use global, run into the fight, die, then buyback.
That's how you have enough mana.
Then you have enough mana. I think that's the key play. Yeah, a lot of silencers known from buyback and globaling in the fountain. We'll see what they do. A little bit of a pause here in the action as we see, what. Okay, never mind. We're just right back into it. They don't care. Smiling Knight versus Saberlight bottom. Still just absolutely nothing happening here. These guys just continue to hit creeps.
Yeah, Saberlight, I thought he would get the Mage Slayer, but I forgot. Ember Spirit is actually one of the few heroes who is better at applying Mage Slayer than Tidehunter. You don't really need to. It's not that broken in the current meta, and I think that'll be really helpful. They've already made Tidehunter extremely tanky to physical damage. Now he's going to get help from the Mage Slayer, and that makes him confident to just be in the front like this, literally tanking the tower, aiding in AVULUS.
This is when you really can't pressure the Tidehunter. The Vlad's is done. They can bring the extra heroes. Maybe with Dragon Knight they can. Desire and Mobe smoked up on the other side. There is a ward here from Liquid, so if this smoke gets popped, they'll see it coming. They're actually going for a really deep wraparound. They think that illusion is actually him in the mid lane. Oh, that hurts as it just expires. So, yep, Dragon form. They do not find him.
both teams care about this tower a lot right now. If Liquid can take it, then you set yourself up to get the 14-minute Wisdom Rune into the Tormentor in the bottom at 15. That's part of the reason Avalos was coming down here with that smoke. Getting sidetracked by that illusion means Saberlight is going to continue just soloing down this tower. And it's going to die here.
Yeah, you can't do anything to this guy. This is Giga Chad Saberlight. You can't stop him.
It did buy time for Zibe to finish all his stacks. He has an Ags, and this is a pretty good timing.
Yeah, 13 minutes. That is very fast. 2 minutes and 13 seconds faster than the average dispatch. That is incredibly stunned. So now typically when we talk about as we hit the 15-minute mark, it comes down to which team can really pressure the Tormentor the easiest. You have Ravage on one side, you have Roar and Global on the other, you have an Egg. It's going to be interesting to see who gets the initiation, but that's going to be an objective both teams absolutely will be keeping their eyes on.
I think it should be a little easier for Liquid, because although you have the Global and they have no Dispels, it's so early in the game. I don't know if you have the damage to actually kill like the Phoenix and all of them in that time, unless you really focus it down with the recently finished Aghanim's Roar. So we'll have to see how it actually breaks out, but I think as long as you're set up and you stick Tidehunter on the front, you should be able to force the issue and take it for yourself.
Yeah. Overall, the Avalos core is all pretty darn farmed. They're going to be heading to the top side here.
Mickey also pretty darn farmed.
Yeah,
he's been left alone up here.
Quietly working towards his items. Is that a Shadow Blade coming out now?
He's got the Echo Saber, some of the components of the Shadow Blade. I don't know if he wants to finish it right away or if he wants to wait for the shard that is about to be available, because that speeds up your farming a lot. But maybe you could make a play if you do choose to finish the Shadow Blade first.
A potential defense here coming out from Liquid. They are TPing in the boys, and Saberlight, well, he's got the Ravage, the dive in from the Phoenix into the Egg. There's the Global, but the body blocks just trying to keep Mobe in range. What a shackle, slowing them down, but there's the change. They got their carry. They've done it. The Ravage will secure the first. Is now Zibe on the run, but cut off from Boxy. Feared right back into the hands of Liquid. He's not getting out of this one. 2 dead for Avalos.
Thought they would turn around to go for the Tormentor, but it looks like they're checking for stacks first, and they're going to find, there's nothing really here. I think at this point, you do go back down there, get that Tormentor.
It's a smart defense, right? You don't really feel super pressured now that the big spells are out. You could go for Tormentor, but you save the tower. Now you can kind of get back out on the map, get some vision, farm some other waves. Yeah, smart play. Patient play, I think, at the moment.
I mean, now that you have these twin gates, it doesn't really matter where you find the fight. In either side lane, as long as you win the fight, you will be able to make it over to the Tormentor. But it looks like they're taking some time on it. They might be close to finishing an item that will give them more confidence to do the Tormentor, but if they're not quick about it...
It's a big smoke. Blink Dagger is available here for the Dragon Knight. Bryle's going to walk right into Snako, but he gets the Remnant out. Quick response there from the Ember. Now Boxy trying to get away here from Mobe. What a dodge again off the mirror. We see this a few different times, but beautifully done from Boxy. Now trying to continue the pressure onto Mobe. The fear is out and back comes the Ember Spirit. Chains are out. In comes the Phoenix dive and Mobe will burn. Roar on the backside grabs the Phoenix. Smiling Knight trying to get into this fight, but he's fallen low. Needs to infest and run. Will Zibe actually get him the distance, the toss to the high ground, but it's not enough. Escaping for the moment.
Starting to see some signs. If you don't have the cleanest initiation on Avalos, these fights get out of hand for you.
That's a nice D-ward there from Snako. So we got 35 seconds till the Ravage. We have a Blink Dagger finished up on Saberlight as well. So they will have that kind of backline initiation if they get their eyes on the Silencer or the Beastmaster. I mean, that's like best case scenario almost in these fights.
I can't believe Boxy dodged that.
That was
House Mirror. That's so good.
That was very nice. Yeah, very early Blink Dagger. I like that. We haven't really seen this as a priority in a lot of builds. Like you said, there's a lot of times it's something like the Mage Slayer or some alternative items to pick up early. Saberlight, rushing the Blink, wants to get aggressive.
I mean, we talked about Silencer being the combo breaker, but if you actually start on the Silencer who's trying to sit in the back, then you don't even have to worry about that. So if you can blink in and Ravage, and Ember can follow up, or maybe the Tiny, snuck his way in with the Shadow Blade, should be easy to kill this Silencer who's been having a bit of a slow start this game.
Oh, the smoke scouted by the ward there. Avalos, they know something's coming. They're going to try and break the smoke here on Desire, but the Blink Ravage onto the back line. They get the Beastmaster, but there's the Global. They need to make space for Zibe here. Mickey, still cursed up, can't actually join the fight quite yet. So a good bait for now from the side of Avalos. The Smiling Knight's going to get to work. The Tidehunter taking almost no damage. But you pop the Dragon Form, you need to find something with this. I mean, no global, can you? Brawl mid lane, gonna get the chains, dodge out any sort of stunts here from Mobe.
Yeah, I mean, we see how tough it is if you don't have the global, which they used to counter the Ravage, so it's kind of an even exchange. Are they
like
thinking
this
about Roche?
I mean,
they
it's a Beastmaster Classic, yeah. They do scan this, so Liquid, they know exactly what is going on, and you do have the Phoenix Egg, so this is a tough contest for Avalos. They're gonna just bide their time, drag the Roche around. There's an infest here into the Dragon Knight. Tidehunter, not the person you want to start on, and that is all Liquid's gonna give you.
That might actually be the reason we didn't see Liquid go to Tormentor. There's only a few heroes in the game that can threaten. You know, if you go Tormentor, we're gonna take Roshan, and Beastmaster with the Aghanims is one of them. So Liquid may be feeling that Tormentor is not worth it to give a free Roche. We want to stay in the area. We want to make sure we can push you out. And they have really good AoE team fight abilities, so it is... Avalos has to find a pick off first before they can comfortably just walk into Roche. I mean, they'll try to sneak it like that, but as soon as they're scouted, they're going to back off.
Saberlight just blinking right onto the high ground. Now, they have good ward vision here from Avalos on the whole top side, which might kind of backfire in just about 20 seconds as Roche is going to move bottom. So we'll see, you know, which team gets the benefit then. Mickey, Invis here looking for Smiling Knight. Sunray is out. There's the Avalanche, the toss, the damage. Not enough. Rage comes out. He will back away, and Zibe comes in with the roar. Deletes the Phoenix, and he's going to look for more.
Good find from Zibe.
Ooh, Blink, Dragon Tail, Focus Fire, Shackle, Brawl needs some help. Boxy's gonna make it in time, it's not there. The global committed. Two big kills for Avalos. This could open the Roche that they were hoping for. But Mickey's
slowly walking down there.
He's still on the hunt, and you're pretty alone here on the Dragon Knight. They're gonna toss him way back. The Shield Rune giving him a lot to work with, and there's the blink out. Impalement Arts from Boxy into the Fear, the Wheel of Wonder. Hold up.
Good turn for Mobe.
He's in a rough position, and in comes the Tidehunter as well. Mickey getting his kill. Well done from Boxy, cutting off that retreat. And Saberlight, wait a minute, he gets some eyes here on the Silencer. He's not done. He's just gonna go for the body blocks, the Gush, into the Anchor Smash, the Impalement Arts just slowing him to a crawl. And it's only a matter of time before Mickey closes the gap, and there it is, the Avalanche and the big wallop.
Mobe pushing up just a little too far there. Really wanted to capitalize on the kills, maybe overestimated how strong he was. But the Shadow Blade allowing Tiny to sneak up, toss him under tower, really, you just have to walk way too far back at that point to try to get out of there.
This game is extremely close still. It is 12-6, but we are neck and neck here in the net worth. And bottom side here, Smiling Knight will just do a classic Rage TP back to the base. Does not want to get found. We'll just get right back to farming.
Now, I'm not the core player, but how do you feel about this Radiance into BKB on Lifestealer?
I mean, Smiling Knight is very good at Lifestealer. I have to imagine this is the correct way to play it. I mean, BKB gives you an extra little kind of get out of jail free card this game. He doesn't necessarily have to use it unless he's in a dire situation, right? So he kind of relies on Rage first, then can back up with the BKB. I think it's fine. I like the build. He's gonna need to fight, right? Like, you're against this Liquid lineup, this Tiny, Tidehunter, Ember. Like, these guys want to run at you. So I think if the Lifestealer plays too greedy, plays too defensive, you're not gonna be able to contribute. First Tormentor went to Boxy, actually. That's a pretty good one.
There's no illusions this game, but it does provide some mischance, which is quite nice. Maybe Lifestealer will ignore it all in the Rage and the BKB. But actually, like you were saying, I think just being able to be in the front, kind of doing the exact same thing Tidehunter does, is quite nice for his team. And having that BKB gives you that comfort to go up there and just not care.
Ooh. Instantly off from the Atos will just egg immediately. He's got some TPs coming in, but I don't know if they're going to be in time. Actually, it is so close, but he will barely die. The last auto attack and global silence out as well. Mobe forced to BKB as Mickey trying to close the gap. In comes the Ember Spirit, but there he is. The Tidehunter with the Ravage catching the back line. They've taken down two. The Infest trying to make some space, but the toss forward. Ember Spirit's in, gets silenced up. There's a roar from the high ground, but a nice save from Boxy, bailing them out. The Fear into the Wheel of Wonder, taunting up the side of Avalos. Another goes down. Brawl with the double kill. Smiling Knight forced that BKB, but he can't do the damage alone. Remnant available. Brawl makes it down to the low ground, and Mickey gonna continue trying to do what damage he can. Smiling Knight, he's looking real healthy, and he's found his target. Tiny goes down. A good return kill, and we're starting to see the strength of this Lifestealer.
I was looking good for Liquid. The global didn't get too much done to start, and we saw them start to kite out the Lifestealer. Yeah, we got this replay here.
How close is
down to the last hit on the egg. Fortunately, Smiling Knight popped the Rage early to make sure, nothing like that. The Fear from Tame the Beast to break it. A sentry placed immediately allowed Mobe to get the BKB off, but then the Ravage catching the supports in the back led to a very clean sweep of the fight. And actually, if they got out there, it would be pretty good. I think they thought they could get the Lifestealer, but this BKB giving him so much extra survivability. It was even such a good Wheel of Wonder too.
Yeah, it was a really nice fight here from both teams, but we're starting to see why the Lifestealer at the final pick here is starting to make a lot of sense. Like, you don't really threaten him too much with the Tiny. Like, eventually, yeah, if you can burst him, that's when you're feeling really strong. But these long fights with the Lifestealer, this is when he thrives.
They're looking for an Infest gank right now.
They're not sloping. They could actually, if they find something, Roche will be moving back to the top side in just a moment. So this is a pretty good opening for the side of Avalos here once again. How long until global? 1 second. Okay. We'll see what they can find. And there's the smoke.
You don't have Dragon Form for this.
I mean, you have this Lifestealer Beastmaster. I feel like this Infest combo will kill almost anyone. And they found Boxy. He gets the Glimmer Cape off. The dust is there and quickly removed. And a very nice find here from Avalos.
Roshan's making his way back top. They're getting down some wards off of this smoke. They should be in a pretty good position to force this.
They need to. They're not really behind, right? This gold lead is very close. And I do think when you have Aegis, probably going to the Beastmaster would be my guess. I don't think there's a lot of kill threat on Smiling Knight at the moment, but if he can get it early, it gives them some potential to maybe threaten these tier 2 towers. But the Aghanim Scepter, something I didn't even notice, it's finished here on this Tidehunter. It's going to make things a lot more difficult.
Avalos really wants to respect the Ravage egg combo. It's a classic.
It's devastating, yeah.
Under attack.
It's one of those things, like, you might get the global off in time, but if it's timed perfectly from Liquid, there's not much you can do. And they're actually smoking, looking for the mid lane. A ward will scout Zibe, but the question is, how far do they want to dive? There's an amplified damage about to be picked up here on the Ember Spirit.
Radiant are scanning.
But a good read potentially here from Avalos is they're currently playing very defensive back behind their tower, not giving this up. Smoke's going to pop. Boxy with a Glimmer, trying to find someone. They actually get a Dragon Tail off onto him. The global is out, no Ravage quite yet. He's going to be shackled up as well. Zibe roars onto the Ember Spirit, trying to save him with the Sunray. Brown needs some help, he doesn't get out. Saberlight caught from the gust. He has to pop the Ravage. Do they have the damage to find anything? And Infest is going to bail out another. 3 dead on Liquid as they look for another. It's just going to be an egg defensive here, but Avalos, they'll just wait. Bide their time, maybe go for Roche. It seems like that's the bigger objective for them.
You don't want to waste any time. You're going to go straight to Roche. Finally, you've been trying for 10 minutes at this point. You finally have your window. Great sentry placement to scout out the invis going in there, and then the silence came out just in time, like just as the Tide blinked in. Yeah. But I also got to credit Zibe. His blink, he didn't over-focus. I think it was the Ringmaster they were killing.
Yeah.
He didn't over-focus that. Blinks in, immediately sees the Ember, and roars across, actually hitting both heroes to finish up the kill on the Ringmaster. No saves come out. And then Ember actually dies in that time as well.
Is under attack.
Yeah, they have burst damage, right? And it's all covered by the global silence. It's one of the reasons we see kind of this Beastmaster Silencer pairing. It works really well. And even though the Silencer has had a very rough game so far, he's contributing and doing everything he needs to. If he's not the one that the fight starts on, AVULUS is going to be very happy.
I mean, that's the strength of the Silencer, right? You want to have a good lane, but even if you don't, global is just so strong. But we're reaching the end point. Lotus is queued up onto Boxy. It's going to take a while to get there, but these next, I'd say like 10 minutes, this is where you really need to get yourself a lead before the Silencer starts dropping off. And then eventually you get the refresher and it kind of loops back around, but there will be that window where you're just not that relevant of a hero.
Yeah, a little bit of a Wisdom Shrine steal here. Nicely done here, but Desire, you know something's up. Force Staff, Sunray, TB. Nice escape from the Phoenix.
Boxy will now go to secure their own.
Is Saberlight in trouble is the question. It's hard to say because he's so tanky, but Mickey here might cover this as an avalanche toss. Looks for the silencer. The roar is going to save him for now into the global as well. The BKB spent, but they need to get the Tiny out of here. In comes the Ravage. No, Saberlight doesn't even need it. He's got the Ember to close the gap, and Mickey still surviving on the backside. A great escape act. He's on the run. Sunray, the healing. It's not enough. They get their kill. And now Brawl, his BKB, it's been spent, trying to do what he can, but Zibe is so tanky. They will back away, a 2-for-1, getting the Tiny though, and you still have this Aegis to play around.
AVULUS saw the TP out from the Phoenix. They knew like they can't help. Like we can go on this Tidehunter. Even though he's usually tanky, we don't usually want to do that. There is no follow-up this time. So they force that fight, lose the supports, but you're perfectly fine for that for the Tiny, like you said.
They're actually playing aggressive, but this ward is going to see everything. So yeah, they'll get the D ward there. Nice read from the side of Liquid. But Smiling Knight, we actually didn't really touch on it, but he did finish up a Nullifier, which will do some work this game. Insania with a Force Staff trying to dodge this one out. Another Sunray TP off the map. There's a lot of heat here in the top lane. He wants none of it.
Is under attack.
I mean, Liquid didn't get to use their spells in that fight they lost, so they were hoping to get something, but like you said, the ward allows AVULUS to just quickly regroup and don't give anything up. Back to Liquid.
I like the Scythe on Saberlight. This is a really cool build because he's closing in on this pretty soon. And this does give you a second blink initiation without having to commit the Ravage. So if you do get caught from the global, you can still lock down the one hero you're really trying to kill. So this, we'll see what it ends up finding, but Smiling Knight doing what I was hoping he would do, which is pressure this top lane, or pressure tier 2s, right, with this AG. Still got about a minute, 40 seconds left on this timing, and he feels so safe.
Lifestealer is working towards that Sange and Yasha, so he'll have some status resistance to make sure he gets his Rage, Infest, BKB, all of these defensive tools off, but that Hex could be what they're looking for. If you can catch the Lifestealer, Hex him, if you Ravage and even catch the Global out, then there's just no save. There's no actual saves on AVULUS compared to the healing from Sunray and the escape box, escape act from Boxy. Might be in some trouble here.
Nice, Shiva's there. The blink, the roar. They found him again. I mean, it's a big. It's not the biggest commitment, right? The roar, relatively low cooldown. It's mostly the BKB. But yeah, anytime you remove this Ringmaster, it gives you another opening in these fights to find another hero.
I think Tormentor is almost up as well.
Defensive side here from Saberlight. Needs to get away from this Dragon Knight.
Cancel his blink.
They're going to gust him into the corner. He blinks to the other side. Zibe will see him. This, you know, it was the grand escape. I don't know if he's too big of a boy to hide behind a tree, but Mickey comes out of the backside, gets a nice toss, but there's the global. Can they actually turn this around? Phoenix is closing in as well. Sunray, they've done it. There's the Ravage. They take down the Wind Ranger. Mobe still has that BKB to play around. And two more heroes from AVULUS approaching from the north. Will they find him? Mickey, Invis, they don't see them quite yet. There's the Infest out from the Lifestealers. Taneko in some trouble. Trying to TP out, they don't get it. Just picked apart here on AVULUS. Your Aegis expiring as well. They've got the Dragon Knight, Smiling Knight, the only hero left here to stand against Liquid. He's gonna pop the BKB and TP out instead.
Another situation where the global comes out, but you don't actually get anything. We thought the Tidehunter was, you know, he was too far, he couldn't escape. It was all a stall tactic. Everyone eventually shows up.
They're gonna chase. Maybe getting a little bit of assist there almost from that creep, but Zibe has to crawl. This is where dead in the water makes a big difference, and I don't think he has it quite yet. Getting that shard on the Tidehunter will do some work, but for now, it will open up this bottom tier 2 tower.
Job finished. Saberlight going for the Shivas next. He is skipping dead in the water this game. Maybe hoping for it from the Tormentor.
They might.
It's also not as good versus a Lifestealer.
Exactly, yeah. There's a couple heroes you love to see it against, but as for Lifestealer who can just rage destroy it immediately, it's mostly for heroes like the Beastmaster, the Dragon Knight, Wind Ranger, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to itemize for, which the Shivas will help. It's a lot of armor, it's an attack slow on everyone on the team, and if Lifestealer doesn't happen to have his Rage or his BKB, then you're going to get him with that too. Reduce the healing as well for some of these tanky heroes. The Beastmaster with the Ags, Dragon Knight, Lifestealer, a lot of healing from them. And it might protect your egg as well, which is actually a big part of the reason Avalos has been managing to win these fights. There's not been a lot of eggs that have hit a lot of heroes. He either has to use it defensively or gets dealt with in the Rage and the BKBs. So if you can protect it with a little bit more attack slow, that
anything
can save you.
Yeah, anything, every little bit helps. And we're actually seeing it was actually a really nice rotation from Avalos. They actually scanned the top twin gate. They kind of made the read that they might be going bottom, but Liquid, not seeing anybody on the map, will back out, wait their turn to smoke, and now it's time for them to look for the pickoff. A little bit of an amplify damage on Saberlight. Not the best Tidehunter rune, but you take it.
It might matter.
It might.
Dota's a math game, did you know?
I suck at math.
That explains a lot. I don't think Liquid actually has a ward down here, so it's a little bit blind, but this is high ground. They're going to catch sight of the axes.
I mean, if you get the Blink Ravage here, they're going to see Sneko. Does he go? The Ravage comes out, in comes Mick, and they even get Smiling Knight on the backside, so no global silence. He does not have a buyback. There's the roar, though. They're going to get the Force Staff to try and save him. Can Snake get the egg off? He hasn't even been needed to. On the other side, Mobe hexed up as Bryle's getting to work, and in comes Mickey, the toss, the Avalanche holding them down. They've got so much going in this fight, but can they escape Avalos? It's looking rough. The team, the Beast Spear, will pull them back as well. 3 dead for Avalos, a toss. They're not stopping. Saberlight wants to keep this pressure into the enemy base. Another Avalanche. They want this Lifestealer. The Hex is out. In comes the dive. 4 dead. A triple kill. Mickey and Ultra Mickey wipes Avalos at their tier 4s.
What a perfect find. They just see the silencer at the edge of vision. Immediately Saberlight walks over, Blink Ravage, catches everyone. I think you gotta back off at that point. Avalos, they thought, oh, they used Ravage, we got a BKB, try to fight and chase, but they don't have the global, so they just kite out the BKBs, and by the time you want to run away, you have nothing left to get you out of there.
It looked a little scary at the middle part. I was like, they're committing maybe a little bit too far, but it just works out. They're too tanky for Avalos to deal with it. They don't have that global silence to protect these abilities, and they don't care for Roshan. They don't care for for Tormentor. They are just gonna beat down your buildings. Mickey on his Tiny claims the first mid racks, now looking for the bottom. The final fortification here from Avalos. They have 30 seconds on this Lifestealer. He does not have buyback. The Shiva's coming out for Saberlight. Even a Butterfly for the Tiny. This guy is going to hit real fast.
This is just 2 racks. I don't think you can do anything besides just stall it out, throw a couple spells.
They still have egg.
You know you're not buying back at this point. Even if he had it and he was bluffing, you're not waiting now. It's way too late.
That's it. 2 lanes of barracks for Liquid. They crack the high ground here just after 35 minutes, feeling super dominant, pushing this gold lead to 17,000 in their favor. Avalos will pop a smoke immediately, realizing they've got to get something going their way here. Obey pops the dragon form. Zibe looking for his roar target, Mickey. He has the illusions. They jump to the backside. They get on top of the Ringmaster. They don't have detection. There it is. The dust is out. There's the global silence as well. Boxe, he's going to go down first, but Saberlight going to put his body on the front line here. try to bait out some spells from the side of AVULUS, but it looks like they're in full retreat as Mickey gets a huge avalanche toss, finds 3. Now Bobe with this BKB, the egg finally coming through. They cannot deal with it. Brawl hunting for more, looking for his chains. He's got on the Dragon Knight in a lot of trouble. They take him down. Smiling Knight has to retreat, but will Liquid let him? They find the silencer again. A dieback for him. What can you do on AVULUS? They do not stop charging on Liquid.
You have to just retreat at that point. The fight for AVULUS, it has to be so specific. You need, first, the Ringmaster. They did get him because if you don't, the escape act is coming out and saving whoever. So you have to find him. You also have to stop the egg from coming out. You have to stop the Ravage from coming out. If you don't actually chain stun the Ember, you're not going to kill him either. You're not going to kill the Tiny, who's going to be 4-staffed away. You have to find the perfect pickoff and then just chain it. But Liquid, they're playing together. They're reacting so quickly. They're now going to grab Roshan. They're going to have a banner to work with. And there's just one lane left. You just go top. You take that tier 2. You don't even have to rush it that much. I mean, you got 5 minutes on Aegis. And it's easier for them. I mean, we've been seeing it the last couple team fights. It's just easier for Liquid, something the panel talked about. They have a lot of answers from their draft to counter what AVULUS can do. So you just need not to throw. Don't go into the fountain. Don't go too crazy. Whittle this away because the late game should be theirs, especially with a 20K lead here.
Nobody can resist the call of the fountain. Let's be honest.
That is true.
It is the strongest opponent for all pro players.
Saberlight has 61 Kraken shell stacks though, so I think he can actually, if he goes in first, I think he can tank the fountain for a little bit.
Yeah, that is nuts. Snako gets a good ward sentry out here, gonna try and provide a little bit of vision on this last lane of racks here. But they could just wait for these last set of items, right? You said they had 4 minutes left on this Aegis. We're closing in on the Swift Blink for your Tiny. What else do you need on the side of Liquid to close this one out?
I don't think you need anything else. I think you have all the tools. You have 2 Lotuses on Boxy and Insania, so you can use it to dispel silences. You could also use it to reflect the Roar and the Dragon Tail, the only real stuns that are reliable. Shackle Shot, you know, kind of iffy on whether it's going to connect or not, even though Desire has done a great job this game. It just depends where you fight, especially in the base. There's not a lot of trees to line things up.
The one hero that could definitely break the smoke reliably, Desire, gets that Wind Run away. So Liquid don't find their opening with that smoke, but they're still gonna just look for any pickoff that they can find. Slow, patient, methodical approach here to try and walk away with a game 1 victory, right? You don't want to be down a game here in elimination. There is an Infest Beastmaster on the top side, looking for anybody on Liquid to try approaching that lane, but it looks like they're more interested in just coming through the front side of the base.
It looks aggressive, but they are playing it carefully. They just want to find a pickoff before they start sieging the towers.
It is so close. They might go for the Tiny here, but he does have the Aegis. You really want the Ember.
Or the supports, if one of them wander over there. But at this point, the positioning's no good anymore. They got to fall back.
Saberlight guesses. In comes the roll. They actually do find the Ember Spirit. The global size to protect him. They're trying to bring him down. They've done it. The power shot with the execute. High ground defended for now. Boxy with an escape back, but can they get more is the question. He's going to be caught from the Nullifier. In comes the Ravage, though, from Saberlight. The Avalanche comes over from this Tiny as he beats down the side of AVULUS. He is too damn strong. 3 dead as Mobe on the run gets the blink out. He's got a TP back to the base, but Zibe in the sights here from Mickey. Another blink forward, a toss back to the Tidehunter. Nowhere to go. 4 dead. It's going to be a buyback from Desire, though. Your base is crumbling to this Tiny. Last fortification here once again. Can they defend? You have a buyback on a Beastmaster.
He has no Roar,
but he has no Roar. The Avalanche, the toss back, the Hex into the break. There's the buyback. He gets to the fountain, but is it too little too late? Focus Fire comes in from Desire. They're doing their best, but there's no damage. They're tickling. Wait a minute.
The fountain.
Oh, he pops the Pyrrhic Clone. He kills him with it. No way. Saberlight as they get another. The GG comes out. In fashion, Liquid will take game number 1. This has to bring that they were missing in game number 1.
I think their late game is looking good. Like the panel said, I like the adjustments they made. Liquid is a team that is very good at going quickly, and I think they've got the heroes for it. You even have this Underlord, you build auras, you teleport everyone around the map to really push the tempo on these objectives. And if you can take these fast towers, the Tinker support never really picks up, you never get the space for the Terrorblade. That is where Liquid will win. The longer this goes, I'm feeling good about Avalos.
Yeah, Terrorblade has been a very, very powerful hero, and Tinker support, what more can you really say? I mean, this hero farms camps faster than almost anybody in Dota at the moment, and even from a 5 position, you can see this person start to scale past your offlaners in certain games. So we'll see how they're able to progress into that late game. But for now, as we're going to see the runes break out, doesn't look like any First Bloods this time for the side of Liquid, so a little bit more of an even exchange. How do you feel about this mid Kunka? Because this is a hero that we had on the radar for a while. Some teams were kind of like unsure, but I think BZM specifically was someone who really kind of brought this hero to light with this like Blade Mail Radiance in the mid lane. How do you feel about it going into this game?
I think you should have a better time in the mid lane to start. If we remember from the last game, the Ember Spirit, I don't think the matchup is terrible, but it can be a tricky lane. I mean, that's a very high skill hero. Kunka's like very straightforward. So maybe if brawl was feeling any nerves or anything, they're like, you know what, Kunka, very straightforward. You'll have a solid start. And they're going to do a lot of work this game. The bow, eventually the damage does drop off, but it's plenty early to kill a Terrorblade, to kill a Wind Ranger, to get that momentum going. And it's some lockdown with the X, something that they need to...
Ooh, that is first blood. Top side for Seneko. They actually find him just a little bit too far out.
He even tried to TP out. That's actually, he's going to have to walk all the way back.
The walk of shame. Yeah, that's a hard one. Not a particularly fast hero either.
Looking at him.
Yeah.
I love that. No, I mean, he's at least in a good spot, right? You're still here getting some CS and contesting it.
It is fortunate, yeah. He does have, it is an Underlord, a pretty difficult hero to bully out of lanes, but the level 2 of Terrorblade is one of those things where like he catches a lot of people off guard. So we'll see if they can actually find something with that, like a casual Blood Grenade reflection into the meta. Kills a lot of heroes. But as the Muerta was gonna make her way back to top, instead we'll make a pit stop in the triangle, stack some camps for El Saberlito.
I mean, Boxy does not have to be super high level this game. Eventually you want 6. But really, the dead shot, the calling, you actually don't need a lot of levels in them for them to already be useful. But if you're thinking about how do you pick up the pace as a team, well, getting some stacks in early for any of your cores to do them and finish up their items faster, that is, well, I mean, if you're dead and you're walking back, you might as well do it.
Yeah, that's true. What more use of your time can you get? So one thing I do like, they were talking about these offlaners, right? The Mars. I do agree. I think it's an incredibly strong Mars game. He should do well in the lane. Gyrocopter typically relies on Rocket Barrage to apply the harassment. You can't really do that against Mars. He's got a knockback and the spear, so he should feel pretty darn safe. So we should see a fairly farmed Mars this game. We'll see what his itemization is going to be, if he's going to go for an early blink, if he wants to go for more of like a utility. We've seen Yules in the past, which against something like an X of a Kunka is actually not a bad option. So we'll see kind of what those options will be. The 3-minute Lotuses. We'll see the brawl for these. Coming in a little bit far here on Seneko. Feared back right into the center of the calling. Now Terrorblade, he's close, but maybe not close enough. Saberblade needs one more auto attack, but will not be able to close the gap. So a lot of damage onto the Tinker, and you still get the Lotus. Overall, pretty nice win there.
I actually thought he was going to die, so the fact that he lived and walked out of there is pretty good. Yeah, maybe if Terrorblade was a little bit closer, you can force that issue. But Liquid had shoved in the lane, and they were in position first. And that was true for bottom as well, so both Lotuses going towards them. Maybe it'll help Insania have a better start. Last game, we saw Silencer have a rough time.
0 and 5, I think, at like 12 minutes. Yeah, it was not a fun time to be a Silencer.
Yeah, we still saw the impact of the ults with the strength of the hero, but I mean, if you can be doing well, then it's a much easier game to play.
Yeah. And with a hero like Kunka, I think it's actually, the combination is still there, right? We saw last game, you know, its pairing paid off quite well with the Roar, but you have a similar type of idea with a Kunka, right? The X into the bow, the global, to protect, so that you make sure you hit this type of combo. Kunka, I think the reason he fell off for a while, he wasn't a super high damage hero. He was kind of lacking his spells. after the water park went away. Hold on. That thought. Top side. We're going to see the meta come out into the calling as well. Silencing the bottom lane. Zibe falling extremely low. And Stania survives the kill shot with that Lotus. So nicely done from him.
Get off my lawn!
Thank you, Gyrocopter.
At top, fortunately, no one died for either team. The dead shot a little bit off on knocking the Terrorblade back in. Got a little more Tinker damage in, but with the healing bot starting to get going, feels like the window for aggression is starting to drop off for Liquid in this lane. And we might see something very similar to last time where both Smiling Knight and Saberlight are just farming away while everyone else is going to go play mid for all these power runes and do the stacks. Especially Seneko as this Tinker. You want a very stable start, like Fly was saying. You want your towers up so you can just defend while farming your own half of the map. And so far, pretty even game. You're usually quite happy with that as the Tinker.
Yeah. Some big stacks here on the bottom side with the flat cannon. Nikke going to try and clean up some of these, but Zibe will wait for that curse to expire, allowing him to get that God's Rebuke off. I like the Falcon Blade pickup. This is something we see sometimes on the Gyrocopter because it's an easy item to build and it can be disassembled for other options with Chop Shop. So we'll see if he decides to do something fun with it, but for now, going for the Falcon Blade early. In Brawl, we can see this game neck and neck with this Dragon Knight. So a much better performance from him here in this mid lane, having a little bit of a better matchup. Here comes the level 6s though. Mobe will pop the Dragon Form immediately and get to shoving this lane as he really wants to start pressuring this mid tower. 6-minute runes coming out though. It's going to be top or bottom. It looks like it will spawn top side. And Seneko will take a haste.
Down Boxy for a little bit, but I don't think you're getting a kill. He's going to get a courier, though.
He is level 4, actually, to the level 2 of this Muerta. So he's having actually a very good start on this Tinker. Oh, we're going to see them make the play for the mid lane Dragon Knight. There's the X into the boat, the curse, everything dumped on him. A very nice combination out from Liquid. And that's the thing, right? You didn't really have this type of damage with the Ember. You do this time with that Dragon Knight. They get a really important kill. Protects that tower completely from that first Dragon Form.
Get that brain drain going as well. He's already at 2. I think that's twice as good as last game. I don't know. I don't remember where it fell out.
The math checks. Yeah, my math checks on that one. That sounds about right.
Yeah, top in the meantime, exactly like we said, everyone's just farming up there. Bottom's actually going quite similarly. So everyone getting a lot of gold this game. It might come down to who can make the plays first, which Kunka has a little bit of an easier time doing so with the X. Dragon Knight, you kind of need that blink before you can really get close to people.
It's a nice rotation bottom in from Instania into the call down. Nikke gets himself his first kill, as they won't be able to grab themselves the Wisdom Shrine, but does slow them up now. A fight over these stacks. Mobe does have, okay, those just all go to the Kunka. Brawl needs to be careful though. They are TPing in some heroes. I mean, that's a big stack that you just took away from the side of Avalos. This will slow down that Tinker as well as that mid lane. And, well, Saberlight's cleaning up his own set of stacks in their triangle. So really well done here from the side of Liquid.
Yeah, we even see Avalos has a few more stacks made, but when they're getting stolen, you're actually just helping the enemy team. So really good call from Liquid. I think Insania saw Desire stacking them when he went for the rune. And he probably called it out. It's like, hey, if you find a time, go steal those stacks. I think that was a triple stack.
Yeah, triple, maybe a quad, but most likely a triple. They do clean up the ancient stack, though, so they do stick around on their 3 heroes. Make sure that they at least claim those. Brawl does have a shield rune, so very tanky on the Kunka here, especially when that rum buff comes out. But it's actually going to be the Kunka pressuring the tower potentially first. Well, Shackle into the power shot. A little bit of damage here to try and force Brawl back. Unbothered, it would seem.
Yeah, with the shield rune, I mean, you're fine.
Back into our triangle, as Liquid would like to say. Excuse me, Mobe.
Well, the thing is, Saberlight has his ultimate, so yeah, he could come in. Oh, actually, he doesn't have enough mana.
Oh, he does get the X. Now, he could follow up with a quick torrent, and the boat to follow. It's on the mark. What a dead shot. Pulls him back in, but a great spear from Zibe and the arena to hold Brawl at bay. Call down. It's going to hit. Mobe in trouble. The secondary strike, it's enough. Well choreographed from Liquid, getting another big kill onto this Dragon Knight as they now put some pressure on this bottom tier 1 tower.
That is twice now they've managed the Deadshot into Torrent combo. That is not easy. Both of those skills are difficult to land, let alone put them together.
I will say Boxy has been one of the most impressive Muerta players that I have seen at this event. This guy, clearly an op main, if you had to guess, but he is hitting every single one of these dead shots, and some that look borderline impossible, but he just makes it work. So definitely going to be keeping our eyes on him during this game.
I mean, it's critical. If you play this hero and you can't land those skill shots, you should just play another hero. I mean, like, it's true, right? Like, that kill on the Dragonite, both of them don't happen if he whiffs the dead shot at all. So that's why we see it a lot in the pro scene, and why you report it in your pubs, like, very often. Like, they're not hitting anything.
That's the get good, you know?
This is a commend or report hero, just like Tusk.
I see.
Like, if you don't land your stuff, report it. If you land it, you're like, this is the greatest player I've ever seen in my life.
I love that. I'm neither, so I'm gonna ignore it. Saberlight and Brawl cleaning up more stacks in their triangle. We can see the net worth advantage starting to build. It's not substantial really at the moment. We're just hitting the 10-minute mark. But this is a little reminiscent of last game of early, where Mickey, once again, having a great time. Just top net worth here on this gyrocopter, followed closely by the Terrorblade though. So Smiling Knight still having a pretty good game as well.
I feel like Liquid has managed to find some successful plays. At the same time, we're at 10 minutes, Tinker has level 6, and all his tier 1s are up. So now you can sit in your jungle and farm, but as soon as you see Liquid starting to push a lane, you just TP over, cast it ahead of time, and no one else on your team even needs to show up if they don't want to, if you don't want to fight that particular objective. So I think Avulus is, even though some stacks got stolen, you know, they're down 4-1, feels all right.
I'll be honest, this Polywog Charm Vanguard on Underlord seems very unfair. This guy's walking around with so much regen, 1700 HP, and then just props the Charm and just gets another 8 regen. He is so hard to push out of this lane at the moment. And Braille, well, he's smoked up here looking for Smiling Knight. He does get the X. Here comes the boat. Can they bail him out of this one? We'll have to see his Boxy here as well. There's the dead shot into the fear, the global, just to secure the kill. And Saberlight, well, he's going to drop the Fiend's Gate. Who's he pulling in? A nice arena from Zibe. Well, trapping 2 here on the other side. Boxy's going to fall. So will the Underlord. Can Braille actually escape? What a shackle from Desire on the mark. Dragon Tail to follow, heavily punished by Avalos. A 3-for-1 trade.
You kill the carry, you lose 3. He ulted for Mickey, but Mickey said, I'm not interested. I'm going to go push bottom.
Nice one, Saberlight. Good joke, but I got a tower to kill.
You want me to go where? Absolutely not.
Yeah, you see the feeds game, I'm like, all right, someone's coming, right?
I mean, it's really messy. Like, if you go in there as Gyro, we already see the arena come out, so the flak would have blocked off those 2 tanky heroes.
The fight's already kind of over.
So I think taking that bottom tower makes a lot of sense. It goes back to what we talked about last game. It sets up the potential Wisdom Shrine steal, Tormentor play. There's actually even a ward down there right now. So you lose that particular fight, but set up another future play. And we'll see if it pays off in a couple minutes, when that should be around the time they head over.
And to be fair, like, you did get the Terrorblade while you're, like, even though it was a 3-for-1, it's the Terrorblade you managed to kill, so he slowed down even further. Braille's game is in a great spot. He's got his Phase Boots Blade Mail, he's on his way towards his Radiant, and we're just seeing this Gyrocopter continue to build this net worth advantage. I mean, he's going to have that ag sooner rather than later.
I mean, the timing's looking good for Liquid. I wasn't sure how quickly they wanted to push this, but you know, they're starting to win some fights off the global. Mickey's at the top net worth. I imagine with the Kunka Radiance, that's when you're starting to feel really good. That Radiance is quite strong versus, well, all these heroes. In a way, it kind of counters all the healing bots from Tinker. So you can imagine it like that. You're just taking out that ability. But it's also really good versus Terrorblade.
Exactly. Yeah, Terrorblade Illusions do not love that AoE Radiance burn. You know, look at some lovely people in the crowd, surely paying attention. I kid. So for the side of Avalos, we're seeing this smoke towards bottom. They're really looking for the Gyrocopter, but this is pinged out. Braille's like, guys, they're on their way there right now. I'd maybe just back towards your tier 2. They'll give up this tower most likely. It's a hard defense, right? You're seeing all 5 heroes committed. They might just trade for the top side. maybe contest that Tormentor. That is the next big objective for both of these teams. And Saberlight starting to wear down this tier 1. You stressed the importance of taking tier 1 towers against a tanker, right?
Yeah, he is already level 9, so your best case scenario versus tanker is you take several tier 1s before he's even level 6. This time we see, you know, he shows up, he uses March of Machines. He's not going to be able to hold it on his own, but he delays it a little bit, and he gets that farm as well. He's already out. This is some of the map efficiency you can do as tanker, right? He's already back to jungling next to his bottom tier 2. It's something you don't get on pretty much any other hero, and why he has been such a highly contested support.
Yeah, and one thing I'm going to keep my eyes on here, well, top lane, Saberlight, Blink, Dragon Tail into the focus fire. This guy's pretty darn tanky, but with the help of Zibe, they drop the arena and the spear. They take him down right at the good time, too. 15 minutes, Tormentor is up, and Underlord not available to fight.
Liquid's in position first, but they do not have the heroes to do this. Boxy just showed mid.
They see them coming through the gate. You need to bring.
You gotta run.
You need the gyrocopter. That's the only real way. Torrent off the mark. Now they do have this Brawl Kunka on the front line, but he doesn't get the blade mill off. He doesn't get the boat off. He's in trouble. He's dead. Liquid not prepared to fight, as now the Tormentor will just be the icing on the cake.
And this time we don't have a hero who can do Roshan really early, so we, you know, the Tormentor right away, we're a little confused for a moment, at least I was, like why that didn't happen last game. This time, no, nothing like that, so immediate Tormentor. Avalos had all the vision for that. They saw Boxy mid, they just killed Saberlight. They even have a ward top to see the two of them go through that twin gate. That's why it's usually scary. If you're not in position first, popping through the twin gate one at a time is usually a death sentence. But when you can see all the information to know that Liquid is not ready to fight us there, that's why they all just go through together, get a kill, get the Tormentor. A really nice play from Avalos there.
I'm really glad I didn't make this point earlier because it would have looked really stupid in hindsight, but I was going to say, contesting Tormentor, Underlord does add a unique element to that, whereas you don't have to walk up the ramps, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
If Underlord's alive.
Yeah, if he's alive, it could have potentially made a difference. Smoked up here from Liquid, maybe looking for the Tinker, but they could head to the triangle and find themselves the juicy Terrorblade. We'll see if it manages to connect, though. As Smiling Knight already making his way across, so they will just barely miss out on this. So mid-tier 1 still an objective for them. We'll see if they can find someone here defending, but doesn't look like it. Seems Avalos knows exactly what's going. Oh, hold up. That Terrorblade TP very close.
I think they see the illusion.
They see him. Smoke comes out. They're trying to find him. Smiling Knight on the backside. Oh, he actually traps them with the Fiend's Gate. Beautifully done. The X into the boat. The pull back. They got him. Saberlight. What a prediction.
Dude, that's crazy. He drops the ult, and because Terrorblade is running away, he channels it for a moment, and they get enough vision time for the X. That is such a good play.
That's cool. Not typically how we see the gate used, but absolutely works.
Maybe he should have continued channeling. Maybe that's his best chance there.
Just take it all the way to the other side, see what happens.
Sania finds Desire. I don't think you can kill thanks to the wind run, but I think you have a rough idea there might be a ward here. I mean, there's no other reason for a support to head over like that.
Boxy is also willing to fight. They're trying to force a bait here potentially, but Atos is out. Boxy with the dead shot, pulls him right back in. Here comes the X from Kunka as well. So much time spent in the calling. Even the Pierce the Veil to finish the job. Boxy setting up another kill here for the side of Liquid.
Another great find for Liquid. There's a lot of action there. I don't even think either team can do Roche too safely yet. It's not even down there, so I'm actually surprised to see so many heroes, but I guess they're just trying to find any kills, because when you get a kill, you can start trying to take more of the map away from the Tinker. The Radiant's getting closer and closer, about 1,000 more gold for the Kunka to get there. And we see Mickey slowly and steadily climbing.
Now, it may look silly that Mickey hasn't really joined his team in a lot of fights. Granted, he's 4-0, so the lane stage, the pressure applied post to take down the tier 1 tower bottom, it's paid off, but he absolutely needs a BKB this game if he wants to be able to contribute. So some of these last fights, he's opted to continue farming towards that item. I think once he has it, we'll see Mickey become a lot more active for his team as bottom lane. Saberlight standing on the front line here. In comes the global. He has a Crimson Guard. He's fine. Mickey is indeed here, but Mobe's forced to pop the BKB and run, and Saberlight, well, he's plenty healthy. They're going to start dropping in more damage. Here comes the X, the boat. It's off the mark, but the arena doesn't really spear anyone to the walls. Brawl with this blade mail doing a lot of absorption, and next get another dead strike pulling back in onto this Mars. They take him down now. Smiling Knight has to retreat. Mobe looking to get some damage in on the backside, but he's in pretty deep, and Boxy will dead shot him right back in to his team. But oh no, they get on top of the gyro. Focus fire is there, but they can't finish the job. Sunder putting Smiling Knight back to full HP, but it looks like both teams may be opting to retreat here. So it'll just be TPs out from the side of Liquid. A nice fight this time from AVULUS, a little bit off with the Arena Spear, but still managing to get the Kunka.
The Arena didn't really trap too many people. It did block them out of the fight for a while, but they just ran around the side, and you don't have enough damage to kill the Kunka quickly. So yeah, we kind of see here, like, everyone in Liquid has to run around the arena, so it kind of blocked him off. But look at Brawl. He's still so healthy thanks to the ultimate keeping him alive. He's got the evasion from the talisman. He does eventually fall thanks to Mobe jumping in, and we see why Gyro needs this BKB, the lasers, the machines, the stuns, make it very annoying for him to just stand there. And even if you do, Smiling Knight could just sunder you. So I don't think we'll see him join another fight until that BKB's done, but
it is done. He's got it. He's on his way to the Revenant's Brooch, so Mickey picks up a very important item after that fight. Okay, 3.5 minutes faster than average. Nice. Mobe will find the silencer here. A little bit of help from Desire. The kill shot will finish the job, so nice find there. No silencer for 30 seconds. But Boxy drops the ward, gets the Atos out, looking to punish this play. They do have to pop the BKB. He actually has no TP for 40 seconds. But will just make his retreat across the river, backed up by that Tinker.
I mean, every time he can get a BKB charge, that's fantastic. We were talking about Gyro needing one. It's also very annoying to fight Liquid without a BKB. The pit especially, and then you think you're out of the pit and you get dead shot back in, and then you get rooted, and then you get rooted again by an Atos. You just don't have the mobility move around. And that's going to be really annoying for Terrorblade to deal with as well, because that's a hero you don't really want to build a BKB on. But if all your illusions are getting stuck in the pit and you can't actually hit anyone, then suddenly your damage output drops immensely.
Yeah, you at least don't want to build it early, right? This is a hero that needs it. They actually find Mobe again. They know there is no BKB for this. There's the X into the boat. The pullback, and Mickey is here to guarantee this kill. They also find the Tinker as he TPs in for some backup. That's just a bonus kill for Liquid. Looking now for the tier 2 tower. The aggression starting to add up. I love Saberlight's build, man. It gives you so much confidence making these types of plays.
Yeah, we're seeing it. This, what they say, exotic Underlord, not one we've seen very often, but it's very interesting as a response to the Tinker, which has had the global advantage, just being able to show up everywhere. Sure, your ultimate is a much longer cooldown, but it's not like Tinker's fighting nonstop, right? There's a key fight to be had like that one, and you show up at that exact time, or you bring another hero in. It doesn't have to be you. In the same way Tinker, it's got to be Tinker. This time it's Mickey. It's like, I'm just doing whatever, you know, throw the gate at me if you ever need me. They have that option.
Boxy closing out his Gleipnir as well. I mean, we'll see.
All the illusions.
Yeah, we'll see if the Underlord decides to go back for it eventually, but this could just be an Aghanim Scepter game once he finishes his, like, Shiva's Guard, right? Just have a little bit. We've already seen the effect he has of just throwing the pit onto the backside, or the gate onto the backside of the fights, finding Terrorblade for vision, but now the route to follow it up, pretty strong.
Aghanim's on him and the Muerta is actually so much control for Terrorblade and his illusions. That's true. I mean, everyone else, of course, too, but especially the Terrorblade, because I do feel a lot of the damage is going to come from him. We are seeing Mobe have a strong start, but I don't know, Dragonite doesn't scale quite as hard as he used to. It's still solid, but I don't think it's enough on his own, especially for such tanky heroes like Underlord Kunka and Gyrocopter, who are all going to protect each other with their abilities, and you're going to have like Satanics in the late game. You need the Terrorblade to be attacking the entire time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing the Tinker effect kind of happen. Like this gold advantage, it's only 3,000 for Liquid, but it's mostly the support difference here. If you take a look at his net worth, he is towering over these other supports. And that's just what always happens on this hero. And if you can get away with it, you know, then you're very happy. Ooh, the X pullback just a split second too late.
Terrorblade does have his BKB queued up, but he is a BKB away from a BKB, which means any of these upcoming fights, all right, you have to wait right now. We keep talking about Avalos being potentially better in the late game. They're keeping the gold lead pretty close, but this is where things can really ramp up in Dota. You get to that second Tormentor, you get to the Roshans, and I mean, in the last game we saw one fight in the mid lane and then 2 barracks were gone.
A new record, Revenant's Brooch on the Terrorblade. Very cool. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, we're gonna have to see this Terrorblade show up in one of these fights big, and it does have to be enabled is the thing, right? You need your initiation of the Mars and the Dragon Knight to find and deliver you the right hero. Now, whether that be Mickey on the gyrocopter, or if, you know, if you can burst this Kunka, that would be the dream. But so far, Liquid haven't really given them that opportunity. Insania sitting here, scouting out a potential rotation. Mickey's in a rough spot. They do have a ward scouting him. Shackle off the mark. He does get the BKB, but there's the global to protect. And in comes the Underlord. He will just back away for now. Saberlight gonna pop the Shivas, give some vision, force the BKB out of this Dragon Knight. Seems to just be a bail here, though. They don't actually want to fight. They have the BKB popped on the gyro. They're out. He's so close to Satanic, actually.
You get the first charge from the gyro, which is great. But I mean, you use another one on your Dragon Knight as well. I guess you got the Underlord ult, so maybe if you see them split up, you can try to take a fight.
See if they do. But mid lane, Bryle just gonna play around with the X to cut the wave. This tower is full HP against a Dragon Knight. That is just how much pressure they applied to Mobe here in this mid lane, and it absolutely paid off.
It's also a strength of Kunka compared to Ember. You have a much easier time shoving in waves, and Dragon Knight does not have the best wave clear since they nerfed the Fire Dragon facet.
No global, but they're gonna go for the smokes, and Eiko sees them under a ward. That is paying off big. They're looking for anything, but they will not find it. And he does TP to safety. Unfortunate there for Liquid, but nice nice placement there from the Tinker.
Any kill you find there opens up Roche. But as you walk through and you see no one's here, you even drop a few wards yourself, you might just go force Roche anyways. They're going to try.
They're going to know about this.
There's a ward revealing it. Okay, they're going to know as well.
Question is, can you contest? That's the big question here for Avalos.
I don't think they're going to make it in time, even if they go.
Definitely not. Yeah, they have. I mean, they're trying to twin gate through bottom. Maybe instead they're just going to opt for Tormentor. It's the trade. So they realize, okay, we cannot contest this Roche. It's going to go to the gyrocopter. We'll get a little bit of gold for our team instead. So Desire will get himself the shard. Now, will he actually steal the Roche? A decent attempt, actually, but as a result, you will lose that Wind Ranger here inside the pit and without buyback for 46 seconds.
I think it's worth taking that risk.
Yeah.
We've been talking about Liquid wanting to play at a faster pace, and once you have that Aegis, BKB Satanic on this gyro, he can just sit in the front, buffed up by the Underlord and his supports. So if you trade your life for that Aegis, you just bought yourself like 10 more minutes of time before Liquid can have another one. So if that had been successful, I think that would have been great for them. He knew there was a low chance of it working, but I still think it's worth trying because just losing a Wind Ranger doesn't really change much for them.
Yeah, I mean, the power shot actually was not that far off. Credit where credit's due. It was a good attempt. Snako finished up those Guardian Greaves, it looks like. And there you said, Mickey will just sit on the front line, continuing to apply pressure. Wisdom Shrine will be picked up here from Insania. Saberlight grabbing the other. And there's the shard for Kunka. So you do have some fishing potential. I know how much we love fishing.
I love fishing.
Some fishing potential with the Kunka, right? The tidal wave pullback, you know, if you happen to see someone hiding in trees or just from the high ground even, you might be able to pull them out of position.
The shard from the Tormentor earlier that Avalos chose was Gale Force. That might actually be pretty useful to keep targets near your Terrorblade. Prevent them all from just running away through the pit and you can't chase after them. So we'll see if that matters. It's especially good around high ground. which Liquid is just going at it. Sometimes you wait a while and see, can you get a pick off with the 5 minutes of age? Someone drew a really nice arrow top there.
That's a
I
good one.
appreciate that.
That was Boxy. He's a gamer.
Yeah. But guys, bottom is foolish. Let's go top. Bryle, this is, oh, that's what he was drawing. He's like, treasure is here, Bryle. Go right there, cut it.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of just cutting these waves and applying pressure to AVULUS, keeping them locked in the base. Now, they've got a Tinker, of course, so if there's any creeps out on the map, it'll be very easy for him to just teleport there and keep those waves pushing in. As Butterfly will be the next item of choice here for the Gyrocopter. Great against the Terrorblade, as he's already dealing with a Radiance as well.
Dragon Knight using his ultimate to farm. It's working towards a Moon Shard. I don't think I've seen that too often. Maybe he is worried his Terrorblade is not going to be able to do enough damage in these fights.
I mean, you're going to have to bring in a second damage dealer for sure. It can't just be the Terrorblade. With how they've answered him so far, I do think, like, once he has BKB and he's able to just get the meta off and stand his ground, like, there is a definite potential for him to go neck and neck with the Gyro, but the second that Satanic is popped for Mickey, I just don't see it working out. So they need to be able to get the first life of the Gyro or get the Satanic out of him before the Terrorblade is forced to pop that ult. As, well, looking for Mickey here. They get the spear back towards the tower, taking a lot of damage here as well. Desire, there's the Gale Forest. He's stuck behind the enemy base. Can Saberlight and the rest of the team bail him out? He does have the BKB. He's going to get covered from the global, so not forced to pop anything else. Swift retreat here from Liquid. I mean, that's a decent way of claiming the Aegis. That's a low commitment from the side of AVULUS.
Yeah, you didn't lose too much. They did get a lot of bottom tower damage in. One more push would finish it. But there was, I think, like 2 more minutes left on that Aegis, something like that. So maybe a little less. But either way, you got it out nice and early. And like you said, you didn't commit that much, so they're even looking for more.
I mean, Gale Force is out. Mobe blinks onto the backside, but Boxy, he gets to pierce the veil off, and now they're trying to find an opening to bring down this Dragon Knight. There's the Arena coming through the BKB out from the Gyro. Smiling Knight just laying into these heroes himself, but who's going to come out victorious? There's a Sunder topping him back off. Zibe surviving on a sliver of HP. Mobe trying to get away from this Kunka, surviving for now thanks to the Warp Flare, but Terrorblade, he's doing the work. Mickey's in trouble. The sun comes out, but there it is. The Satanic gets him right back into the fight. 3 dead on AVULUS as Desire running back to his fountain. A long, scrappy engagement, but Liquid just barely come out ahead. That was close.
That Arena was such a good start for AVULUS. It actually blocked just enough flak attacks from Gyro that we saw so many heroes low health. But we see the damage issues come in. They had the Gyro isolated. They just could not finish the job. The Satanic heals him up enough. And at that point, as your abilities end, the Arena drops. Now you're all exposed again to the flak cannon, which came back up. Same thing as last time. They finally find a fight that works for them, and suddenly the bottom barracks is down. Now they're headed mid. Maybe they're headed to the fountain again. They can't resist. I mean, don't have the Tidehunter this time.
Yeah, maybe you can't get away. No Pyrrhic Cloak on the board quite yet. But, I mean, you've got the Underlord that made it so easy for you to just rejoin, topped off completely, continuing this aggression. We saw them last game take 2 lanes of barracks back to back, and, well, they might be doing it again. Great spear back, puts Insania in a rough spot. Focus Fire completely negated. The Crimson Guard stopping it all, and, well, Mars dead on the front line. In comes the Terrorblade. Smiling Knight's got to do some heavy lifting. A great initiation on the backside from Mobe, but the boat, it's going to hold them at bay. Mobe's got to run. Bryle with the tidal wave disarm, but there's the Sunder. He's forced to BKB. Global Silence is out back the other way. Liquid need to disengage, but there's the Arena. There's the BKB from Mickey. He might just leave Saberlight, as he doesn't have much of a choice. He has a TP, but not willing to use it quite yet, and a great shackle. But Smiling Knight's got his eyes set on Insania. Mobe blinking forward as well. They take down the Muerta. What is happening in this fight? It's split up 3 different ways. Bryle will TP home. Mickey is left all alone. Can he get out of here? He's a hard kill, but with 4 heroes running towards him. Yules, okay, a little unfortunate there. Popping that flat cannon, continuing to do some work out of mana. Has that Satanic. That's all he has left in the tank, and in comes Terrorblade. In comes Mobe. There's the spear. Satanic will not save you this time. Mickey finally goes down.
an absolutely critical hold from Avalos there, because if you lose that fight, the game is done and you are out of this tournament. Actually going to find another kill for free. Not sure what's going on there. Neither Smiling Knight.
Boxy's like, all right, my bad. I did not make it in time, and I'm definitely dead.
That was a costly hold, though. That was 2 buybacks from Avalos, and you did lose 2 barracks, even though you hold on for now. This is feeling very similar to the last game. Control is now on Liquid's side. You can patiently play out the rest of this game, find the right fight, and in the meantime, just slowly chip away at that top tower to go for megas. So Avalos is going to have to be real careful here. They have to find a lot of fights perfectly in a row. Going to start here, see if they can force out the gyro buyback. I think you can give up 1 set of barracks and it's not a huge deal on
Saberlight caught in the arena of the spear, but being held at bay thanks to this Pit of Malice, and well, he hasn't really taken any damage at all. You did commit the boat for this. You forced the BKB out from Zibe. The X, not going to be able to pull him back, but Avalos, this push completely shut down, and that means this gyrocopter will be joining them shortly.
I feel like we just saw 5 heroes hit 3 heroes and no one's health moved. Like that's the Tinker effect and the Underlord effect right there.
Crimson Guard versus Repair Bots, which one's stronger?
Trying to steal the Wisdom Shrine. Underlord coming in.
Oh, we've seen this before. He immediately BKB TPs. All right. I mean, that's a big cooldown to get. We might see Liquid look for a play now as Brawl also has a Nullifier completed.
All their abilities will be up in time to get that BKB besides the Underlord ult, but I mean, as long as Underlord walks with his team, then it's fine.
Does Liquid want to play a little bit more patient is the question, though? Because, like, you could just wait for next Roche. You've already got 2 lanes of barracks. There's a tier 2 top. Like, do you feel obligated or pressured to try and end this game now against this, like, Terrorblade and Tinker?
I mean, I want to say you're in a good spot. It's actually only a 4K lead, funny enough. So I don't think we can count Avalos out, especially when you have a Dragonite and a Terrorblade. If you manage to get a key kill on Liquid, especially someone who doesn't have buyback, you could take the whole base and potentially end the game. Well, not the whole base, but like you just take the tier 3 and go for the end.
I feel like we're seeing another BKB TP here. Now, Brawl will have the X. He's trying to get this off as late as possible, and there it is. Pulled right back into the grave. That's the Kunka effect, right? Like previously, you know, not something you had to worry about.
He didn't expect Kunka to be there, because otherwise you have to BKB, TP immediately, and then you're safe, but he waited just a little bit. He was trying to kill the creep wave to buy as much time as possible. And I can't blame him, right? You really have to push the limits here when you've lost 2 barracks.
Mickey, he is pretty alone. Top the spear is off the mark, just barely sidestepping it. Unfortunate for Avalos. Now, a lot of the damage being absorbed here by the Mars, as a Shackle will push them all the way back. Now, Gleipnir's connecting. Brawl, when did you get here? He's back into the top lane. There's the X. Nice boat, but unfortunately dodged thanks to that AVULUS does pull them back in with the tidal wave. They actually get some vision here onto the Tinker as well. That's a big kill. Nullifier back out onto him. Sunder will save this Wind Ranger, but Seneko in, well, maybe not. They just continue the dive. Another tidal wave pullback. They just can't be stopped. Feared in as well. Nicely done from Boxy. The chase never ends. 3 dead on Avalos. As the Dragonite will be back up shortly, but you will not have your supports.
Could buy back if you need to on the Tinker. Can't do that on the Wind Ranger. Liquid's gonna look to push this. Well, Roche is close. If you want to play it real safe, you could go for that. I don't think you really have
to push
though.
It. Why not? You know, you have an MKB coming now on the Gyrocopter. There's your buyback on the Tinker. Saberlight, as well as Mickey, just sieging down the tower. Global Silence can be used to protect. There's going to be the meta. There's the Spear of the Arena. You got to help them out. They get the kill. Hold up. Boxy on the run. Doesn't escape. Saberlight in trouble as well. Looks like they're going to claim themselves 3. You said before, a absolutely critical high ground defense, but they do it again. This time the Spear on the money.
The Moon Shard on the Dragonite paying off there with the Terrorblade.
Yeah.
Mickey surprised. He did not think he could die like that. But these are the fights that Terrorblade wants. He just wants to stand there and hit with all his illusions in meta. And it's really tough to create those fights on the map. But when you get to the high ground, yours or your opponent's, that's when it's the easiest for you. And so the spear knocks the gyro back. They just lay into him. One stun was enough to finish up the kill. And now they get Rosh. This is actually a huge swing for Avalos.
Yeah, this Roshan is literally game-changing, right? Like, and they're in a situation previously where this ends up into the hands of Liquid. You can't kill that gyro twice. You know, you commit a lot to bring him down.
The banner being picked up is also essential in these kind of games where some of your barracks are down and you're thinking, can I just go for the win if we happen to get a huge kill? Because in the past, you just save fortify. Okay, we killed their creep wave. We just bought ourselves a minute because we had someone cut the next wave. But now you can keep that creep wave alive, which could threaten the end of the game. Liquid's got to be real careful. They got to farm up their buybacks. Gyro actually does not have his right now.
He's got a little ways to go, actually. Quite about 1,500 gold away from his own buyback. But with this, I mean, we're starting to see the pressure that the Terrorblade brings. One of the reasons it has one of the highest win rates currently in this event, and why so many teams opt to ban it. It's online.
So another shard here, and who's that going to? The Dragon Knight. That one's not super critical here, but I guess you always take more damage, and it'll help you push out waves a little faster. Maybe you won't get caught by the Kunka next time if you can just drop the fireball and run.
Yeah, actually does make a lot of sense, true. If you can just fireball and back away, that's easy. Now closing in on some big talents here. 25 for the Gyrocopter will be soon, which that does give you a lot more damage to play around in these fights.
See the Ags on Saberlight queued up. I don't think he's going to buy it out. You know, maybe a couple of minutes ago, but after the fight they just had, maybe feeling a little bit more mortal. Boxies, I think maybe you can consider buying that one out, because that one's really good, and you can sit really far back on the Muerta, not really risk dying, and just keep throwing out these AoE dead shots that fear everybody.
Yeah.
Really good versus Terrorblade. I think that one might be worth buying out for.
So I was going to say maybe Mickey holds buyback. He decides to buy out instead, so he does not have that. If something bad goes wrong here for Liquid, you're going to be sidelined without your gyro for quite a while.
To be fair, if you save buyback and you're forced to use it, we've been talking about how Avalos might be the better late game draft here.
Yeah.
Boxy, chain stunned up, doesn't even get a chance to use the ult to try to get out of there, but with that many stuns, I don't think he was getting out no matter what.
It was a nice play there from Avalos. Position knowing someone's going to try and cut this wave top. That's where they've been trying to play for a little while, so they get themselves the punish. And I mean, every kill matters. Avalos is just right back into this game. It is 20-18, almost no gold advantage either way. And we're going to see them look to pressure even more aggressively here with this Aegis. They have about 2 minutes remaining. Brawl going for a scythe on the Kunka. How do you feel about that one? Oh, there's the Ags. Okay, that's done on the Muerta.
All right, opting to buy out. Maybe they're feeling some pressure here that they don't want to drag this out and play it safe. I like the idea of the Hex, especially late game Dota. If you can instantly kill someone, it's massive in team fights. We saw it in the last game when the Hex came out. So something very similar can happen here if you can get the Tinker or the Terrorblade. I'd say those two are the best. Oh, he's at the edge of a ward.
This is a really big kill for Avalos. If they can find it, he will show. And here comes the Dragon Knight, the stun, the spear. Mickey, you are gone for 100 seconds. That is a very big find here for the side of Avalos, and we're going to see what they can do with it.
The creep wave is already in the mid lane. You've got the banner. You have a Tinker who's going to heal everybody up, barrier everyone. They're in it for this push, but how far do they want to take it? You can at least get this mid barracks. You can probably get.
I mean, we'll see. You're in against an Underlord. The jump in, the spear back from Zive actually finds Boxy. He pops that Pierce the Veil, the boat coming in as well. They're trying to just bide their time here against this siege from Avalos. And right now, it's working. That banner still stands though, and that will finally give them the ability to start leaning in towards this tier 3 tower. It's gonna crumble. The lane of barracks now taking a lot of damage from this Dragon Knight, as Smiling Knight trying to do what he can as well. But the Pit of Malice is very frustrating to push into.
At this point, the initiation was a little messy. They were on separate pages. Now I think you're just going for the barracks and you're trying to get out of here.
Yeah, I think they can get it. They actually find Saberlight. There's the spear back. He's going to be able to survive for the moment, but they have the damage. Smiling Knight finishes the job. There's the fortification. 20 seconds till this gyro is up. You have buyback available. Can you protect your buildings? It's not looking good here, Liquid. Melee barracks will fall and AVULUS will crack the high ground for the first time here in this series. And there's the buyback. They want to punish this. They're looking for Zibe. They're trying to get some more. He ogre steals down to the low ground. Brawl's going to chase him. Sunder brings Saberlight kind of low. The X will pull back the Mars and he's dead. Smiling Knight will TP home. They've done it. They get a buyback, they get a lane of barracks, but they're gonna go straight into the enemy base, maybe looking for more. Tinker showing on the wave. Hold on, Liquid. He's gonna BKB for now. Spear the arena catches two. Can AVULUS do the damage? Boxy and Saberlight stuck inside. Mickey trying to do what he can here on the gyrocopter, and they take down the Dragonite. They die back on the Mars. He's falling low here on the Terrorblade. Can Mickey do it? Deflect cannon. It's enough. He's gonna buy back into the game, but now Liquid, you need to get out of town. There's the Gale Farce slowing them down for now. Mickey gonna be okay, but they get the Underlord. That's the dieback, and AVULUS are hunting for more. Insania stuck inside the trees. Can they find him? Mickey needs to go. He's gonna do what he can here to buy some time, but Desire trying to line up the shackle, gets the Yules. You've gotta leave him. You cannot afford to stick around. What a fear. The dead shot from downtown will allow the clean escape from Liquid. That is 3 buybacks forced out of AVULUS when they were looking so good from that siege.
What a call from Liquid. There's so much trust in each other to buy back, be at the edge of the fight and say, go straight into their base right now. And it pays off. They get more buybacks out of AVULUS. You did have to use Muertas, but support for the Dragonite and the Terrorblade is massive. You can now kill anyone, the Mars, the Terrorblade, the Dragonite, and they will be out of the game for 2 minutes. All right, I guess Mars just used his. 100 seconds, that's good enough. You can end the game off of that.
Yeah, I mean, the next set of fights and the next set of kills, AVULUS, if you get caught without your buyback on your core heroes, that could spell disaster, and we are going to be seeing when Roche respawns here fairly soon. I mean, that's the next big objective for both of these teams. Now, it is going to be respawning as these buybacks are close to coming off cooldown for maybe the side of Liquid, but AVULUS has a little bit of time they need to wait out here. Both teams definitely feeling the pressure, though, but Liquid, that play call, that has got to be one of the best ones I have seen in quite a bit.
Gyro should be right at his buyback now. So you could choose to commit it as Roshan potentially respawns and you have to use it to get it, but with that you have enough. This is now the third one, so you're gonna have Refresher and Cheese. It's gonna be a lot of tools to potentially end the game off of.
I like that butterfly pickup once again. Finally completed there. And we kind of saw last fight, it's really hard to bring down this Kunka, right? He's incredibly tanky, so is the Underlord, but you got to give credit to AVULUS. They have had some beautiful initiations off the Mars. This Dragon Knight scaling has finally paid off. He's got himself a Refresher, so 2 sets of spells for him. Double BKB, always a big deal in these fights.
Insania, he can buy out the Refresher. I think he's deciding right now he's getting just enough money for it. I think he's going to go for it.
He might.
Because you can sit so far in the back as a silencer that the risk of dying back is not as bad. But that doesn't mean he has to be careful. If he gets caught out.
They're walking into Desire. The smoke's going to pop. He immediately drops that onto the high ground. The nullifier is out, and he is all alone. No team to come back to save him. A big pick. Now, this is one of the few heroes with buyback, so she can rejoin her team if needed. But AVULUS will smoke up themselves, looking for their own return kill. They do have a nice ward here in the mid lane that they can try and play around.
Do you want to try to find a Roche fight or try to get someone who's pushing out bottom? They split up a little bit on that smoke, so currently they can't do any of those. I really think you need the Terrorblade there, even if you find the initiation.
Oh, they're going to go for Brawl. The Spear's going to connect the global. The first one's going to be sent, and Brawl gets his BKB. The turnaround. Oh my goodness, Mickey, he's doing a lot of damage here. They pull in the Terrorblade. He's dead, baby. Looking for Mobe as well. Brawl just dances away. 4 dead on AVULUS. It's looking grim here for these guys, the underdog team. Can they hold? But I don't know, man. Liquid feeling very strong. Brawl just buys back. They want to end this game here and now.
There's no buyback on any of these cores. You have to do the craziest lane cutting you've ever seen, but I think Liquid's going to know.
It's
you
a
see a couple heroes
divide.
positioning back, just making sure creep waves make it to the enemy base. Divine purchase, he's all in on this.
The only thing standing between Mickey and the next round are the
machines.
a lot of repair bots. He's going to start getting to work here on the tier 4 towers. There's no fortification quite yet for AVULUS. They need to get this wave into the base. A Gale Force to try and slow things down, but that creep wave, it's going to make it. And here we go. The siege begins. You have... I don't even know there's a hope left here from AVULUS. They're doing their best. Sneko pops the BKB, but it doesn't matter. Your throne's exposed. There's the GG. Liquid take it 2-0 over AVULUS.